Okay guys, this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to lay out the drawings for 1-3.1, the orthographic and isometric drawings. If you guys read the instructions, you will need to use a ruler, and you can use the little one from the drawing kit or a full-size ruler, and you will need your 30, 60, 90 triangle. All of these are very important for today's assignment, and you need to make sure that you are using them correctly. Alright, so the first part of this assignment, you guys will be creating orthographic drawings. So you're converting this 3D object into a 2D flat isometric view. Same thing that we did last class, where we turned an isometric into an orthographic drawing. So we're just continuing with that practice. Okay. So I'm not going to do the first one because I really think that one is pretty simple. I think I want to do, let's do number 4. Number 4 is the one that I think you guys, that will probably maybe confuse some of you because it has an angle. Alright, so I'm just going to fold my paper in so I can see it, okay, and have it right there at the top of my screen along with what I'm drawing. Okay, so you do not need to be drawing these full size. You guys can draw them at your own size or follow along with the video. So if we look, this is you have these little grid marks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 6 wide from left to right. Okay, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 deep. Okay, and then right here, this is where we have to figure out how tall it is. We see that this is 1, 2, 3, so this is 3, but right here this is 1, so overall the overall height is 4. All right, so I'm just going to convert those measurements into quarters. So I'm just going to say 1/4 of an inch equals 1 grid space. And this is just me writing this down. You don't have to copy it. Okay, so 1 grid space that we see here is going to equal 1/4. So if we look at this, if this is 6 grid spaces wide, then that would mean that this is 1.5 inches wide. So I'm just going to move this up, and now we can start drawing. When we start drawing orthographics, we always want to start in this bottom corner here, because that will set up our guidelines. Okay, so I'm just going to put a dot right there, and that's going to represent this bottom corner. So I'm going to get my ruler, and I'm just going to, as best I can, make a horizontal line very lightly all the way across. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing going up, so a vertical light line going up like so. Okay, so right here, this is where I'm going to be putting my starting point, which is this part right there. So I'm going to break this up into shapes. I'm going to draw this rectangle first. So I know that my rectangle is 1/4 of an inch tall. So 1/4 of an inch is just 4. Let me zoom in on this so you can see what it is that I'm talking about. Okay, 1/4 of an inch tall is just 1, 2, 3, 4 marks of an inch, and I'm using the inch between 1 and 2 because it's easy to see. The inch between 0 and 1 has 32 segments, and this right here has 16. So I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 on 16, and that gives me the 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so I'm just going to line that up right there and count up 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot. And then I'm going to do the same thing. It is 6 grid spaces wide, so 6/4 equals 1.5. So I'm just going to draw in a very dark 1.5 line. Okay, and then I'm just going to also make this line dark. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do my best to make this parallel, these lines parallel with my original lines. Okay, so there, I have drawn this full rectangle right here. All right, now this is done, and we are then going to move up to this rectangular shape that got an angle chopped off. And it's going to be just a little bit of a quick layout. So this corner right here is going to be that corner. So that corner and this corner will correspond. So I'm just going to mark 3/4 up, which is 0.75 of an inch. So I'm just going to bring my ruler up right there, and I'm marking, it's kind of hard to see because I'm putting a shadow, but right here is 3/4 of an inch lined up right there, and I'm going to go to 1. So I'm just going to really carefully draw a dark mark. All right. Okay, so this line is taken care of, and now I'm going to draw in this line right here. So if we look, there's 2 grid spaces, 1, 2, which means that it is 1/2 inch or 2/4. So I'm just going to take my ruler, line it up right there, and draw that in. Okay, so this one is done. And now I just connect from that corner down to this bottom edge right there, and this will complete the front view, like so. And actually I'm going to make that a little bit darker, like so. Alright, there we go. Okay, so there is our front view. So let's go ahead and move to the top. When we're moving to the top and we're looking down on it from, when we move to the top and we're looking down from above, we see a rectangle here, a rectangle here, and one large rectangle here. Okay, so I'm just going to take my ruler and line up the edge of my ruler with the edge of my object that I drew, and very lightly draw in that, because that'll represent its overall width from left to right. And then right there where I have a change in plane, I'm going to line up my ruler right here and draw a light line. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with this big rectangle right here. It is 6 wide, which we already know because we drew the front, and it is 3 deep. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to draw that. I'm just going to go ahead and bring my ruler in and draw a solid dark line right here. All right, and then I'm going to take my ruler, line it up, and because I know that it is 3 grid spaces long, that means that it is 3/4. So I'm just going to bring my pencil to right there, the 3/4 mark, and draw in a dark line. Okay, and then that gives me my basic setup for my rectangle, and I can go ahead and complete my rectangle. And I'm just darkening my lines based on what I already have drawn, and there is my large rectangle, this one. Okay, so let me move that down so you guys can see it. All right, now we're going to go ahead and draw in this little baby rectangle, which is 1 grid space long and 2 grid spaces wide. Okay, we already know that it is 2 grid spaces wide because I already drew that there. And now I just have to represent that it is 1 grid space deep. So I just count 1, 2, 3, 4, go to my quarter line, my 1/4 of an inch line, and draw that in. And then I'm going to go ahead and complete my rectangle. Alright, like so. So I didn't really have to measure too much because I already drew these guidelines in based off of my front view. The last thing I need is this shape right here, which if we're looking from above, it would look like a rectangle. So basically, I'm just going to line up my ruler like so. And then, oops, I want to make sure that it's nice and even. And there is our front view. And I need to pass out some more tools to you guys. I wonder if I have one here at my desk. I don't think I do. They're called erasing shields. They're a really nice piece of metal that helps you erase, and I'm looking and I don't see one in my desk. Okay. So an erasing shield would just help us to erase the lines that we see that we kind of don't need, and the shield would protect the lines that we do want to keep. All right. There we go. There's our top view. All right. So now all we have left is our side view, which looking from the side, we would see this rectangle there and this rectangle here. All right. So we're just going to take the ruler and line up the edges. So I'm lining up my line with the edge of my ruler and really lightly drawing a line out and line up my edge there and drawing the line out lightly, and that gives me my overall the overall height from my side view. Okay, so looking at our looking at our overall object, we see that we have a rectangle that is 4 grid spaces wide, which means that it is 1 inch long by a 1/4 inch tall. So I'm just going to line this up right here, and I'm just going to make a vertical line because I don't need to measure my height. I already have it indicated and I already drew a guideline. So when I bring my ruler in, I'm just going to line up right here the number 2 with this line. I'm going to draw a dark line to the inch or to the 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing to that top line right there. And I have made, and I'm just going to complete my rectangle. I have made this this shape right here, this rectangle. And now I just have to draw this rectangle. Okay, so I mean, it might be a little bit hard to gauge the height, but based off of looking at the other end, we know that it is from this edge right here to the top, it's 3 grid spaces. And we know that it's 3 grid spaces here because I've already drawn the front view. And then it is 1 grid space wide. So I'm just going to take my ruler, line it up right there, count from 3. I'm going to count this way, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to do my best to make a a vertical line here. And then I'm going to complete my shape like so. And there we go. This has completed our number 4 orthographic. So I'm just going to write that this is for orthographic. And there you go. That's how to do number 4. All right. So it is your responsibility to go ahead and finish. Let me zoom out it is your responsibility to go ahead and finish the other 4 drawings. They should be relatively simple. So we've already done number 4. You guys are just responsible for 1, 2, 3, and 5. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Thanks, guys.